Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking shut up.
This is Umar for IFLTV. We're back at the O2 Arena. We had Joshua Helenius here last night. We're here for IFL Live. I'm joined by the Gad himself, Gareth A Davies. Sorry we didn't get a word with you last night after Joshua's brutal knockout of Helenius in the 7th round. Seemed to be boos in the crowd in the 3rd round, if I remember correctly. A bit harsh from the crowd to boo in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I might have a little vape while I'm here, first of all, you know. Lovely. Thankfully, it's not like a bad dream. Like you say, we're back at the O2 a few hours later after the event last night. Boos in the 3rd round, yeah, there was a stultifying round, and a lot of people wanted a 3rd or 4th round knockout from Anthony Joshua, but he was very cautious in this fight, not gun shy, but cautious. Very simple game plan of jabbing to the head and body, letting the 1-2 go, the jab and the right hand, and looking for that left hook, which was mainly out of range when he was throwing it. He took a little bit of punishment himself. Last night, in the immediate aftermath, I thought he took very little punishment, but he was a little bit marked up afterwards. But as you say, it was a dramatic finish, a hellacious right hand, just showed how much power he's got, and he got the job done. People are now questioning, as they always do with Anthony Joshua, how he's going to get on when he faces Deontay Wilder, hopefully in January or February in Saudi Arabia.
Out of 10 for the performance?
I'll give it a good 7. A good 7. He's a different fighter to the plundering, gung-ho knockout merchant of his first 17 fights.
Is he a better fighter now?
Oh, he's just different. He's different. Okay, I'm on the fence there with it a little bit. He is different. He is cautious. He's less dangerous in lots of ways, I think. Certainly that's the way opponents will view him. And if the finish is entertaining, how he gets there can be... I think I speak for everyone here. You worry about him a little bit while he's fighting. Is he going to get caught? Is his confidence level high? But we dig into all these tiny intricacies around Anthony Joshua. Afterwards, yesterday, I got to speak to him straight away after the event, after the fight, for Talk Sport, as an interview on the broadcast. And I think it was an enormous... He seems to have these adrenaline surges and this relief. I think he's still carrying a lot of weight into these fights, a lot of concern. They're big events every time he fights. It was a big fight week, wasn't it? It felt really big. Even though it was a late notice replacement.
It was a late night as well last night.
It was a late night. It was a late night. In 39-year-old opponent Robert Helenius, who, you have to say, is no mug. He knows his way around the game, and he showed that in the first 2-3 rounds. He looked very composed, I thought, early on. Joshua is taking time to get into his stride now. Is Joshua a more dangerous fighter? No, I don't think he is, if I'm honest about it. He was dangerous when he was letting his hands go. The highlight reel loop that ran all last week leading into the fight, from his first 17 fights. Yeah, but 6 years ago, more than 5-6 years ago, showed an extremely dangerous fighter who had a kind of, looking back on it, maybe a recklessness, but heavyweight boxing is about knockouts. It's about big punches. So, rather like, Eddie Hearn made this comparison to me, and I agree with him. It's a little bit like Klitschko after he was knocked out. Vladimir Klitschko changed his style into a much more safety-conscious style, and didn't pull the trigger as much. I remember Manny Stewart, the late great Manny Stewart, screaming at Klitschko when I was covering some of his fights in Germany, "You've got him finished, go and finish him." But it sometimes took Vladimir 2 or 3 more rounds than Manny was happy about for him to finish his opponents. And he had massive power. I think Joshua is becoming a slightly similar fighter to Vladimir Klitschko.
Interesting. Gareth, we've seen Tyson Fury dismantle Deontay Wilder in the second fight. Won the first.
Well, he didn't dismantle him, he took it to him. He got him on the back foot and he beat him up.
I mean, he
Yeah.
completely
fair
tore him
enough,
apart.
fair enough, yeah.
In the first fight, even though the whole world thought he won it, he boxed in a different way. Now, if Anthony approaches the Deontay Wilder fight like he's fighting at the moment, which is staying on the outside, using the jab to get in, this looks like what he's working on, and he's been doing that in the Franklin fight, in the Helenius fight last night. Isn't that a very dangerous way to go about the Wilder fight?
Yeah, leading into this fight, David Haye made some great points, as did Tony Bellew, about this was an opportunity for Joshua to show the blueprint of how he would fight Deontay Wilder. And my feeling was, I think before this contest, I was kind of germinating the view that he might be able to outbox Deontay, but I don't think he will, and I don't think he can. I think it's a shootout for him, and he's got to go in there and make it a 4 or 5 round shootout and try and land on Wilder. Can he do that? That's the $60 million question, isn't it?
Wilder, massive favourite for you going into that fight?
Yeah, he is a massive, massive favourite. Wilder's been down and can get up again. We've seen that. Fury can go down and get up again. Can Joshua take a big punch from Wilder and get up again and give it back to him? We don't know that yet. Has he got the desire to put it on Wilder and put it on him early? I think most people would agree that that's his best option to do that, put it on him early.
Okay. Any more, before we wrap up, any more takeaways from last night in terms of Joshua? Anything you want to add? About Tony Bellew's comments on DAZN.
Well, Tony Bellew and David Haye both said he should take another fight before Wilder. But Joshua, in his post-fight interviews, I mean, I think he might as well take it now. And if he does come out and win that fight, it's Fury next, presumably, next year. Or maybe someone in between.
Why do you think Tony and David made those statements?
Because he doesn't look ready to fight Wilder, and I don't disagree with them. That style he fought in last night, Wilder will find a way through the middle or counter him. That Anthony Joshua's game plan was very simple. We didn't see any counter punches last night from him, from Helenius. He wasn't countering at all. I'd love to see that from him. So they're just talking about more development under Derek James. Derek James is definitely good for him. There's no question about that. He believes in Derek James's ideologies. He listened to him. Derek James said move and shuffle last night, create angles, which he wasn't doing early on. And he's got to create angles against Deontay Wilder. He got that angle against Helenius in the end, didn't he? To talk across his chin, you know? And that's what he's got to do.
Gareth, thank you very much for your time here at the O2. Enjoy the rest of your night here at IFL Live.
Yeah, well, I'm delighted, by the way, to have been asked by Coogan to co-host it up on stage with him. He's more nervous than a fighter making his ring walk. I first met Coogan 14 years ago in Vegas with Ricky Hatton and Paul Speak. And he was Ricky Hatton's minder before Ricky Hatton's Pacquiao fight. What a long way he has come, and all of you. And I hope it goes really well tonight, and I'm delighted to be involved.
Top man, thank you very much, as always.
Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher, and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.